Coming up on Profiles in Caring, presented by Equitable Life and Casualty, the hospital by the river. It has saved more than 25,000 women from lives of humiliation and disgrace. It's a story of healing and of hope, and it's next.
The following Profiles in Caring is brought to you by generous funding from Equitable Life and Casualty, committed to being the premier life and health insurer for the ultimate generation, today's senior American.
Welcome to Profiles in Caring. Our story today takes us to Ethiopia, where decades of compassionate work is finally getting the world's attention, from Oprah to World Health Organizations, even in books. It is humanitarian work that is helping women who have endured incredible injuries giving birth to their babies. To understand, let's visit the hospital by the river. This is the hospital by the river, the Fistula Hospital in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. It's a place of healing for women like this one, women who've suffered incredible physical injury giving birth so that a fistula or hole is created in their body, and they constantly leak urine. They are permanently damaged. They can't help but smell. They are outcasts.
These are all girls, they haven't been operated on yet. You can't record the smell of urine, but when you stand close to them, they're leaking. Is she?
Yes.
And hullet. So these are girls with nerve injury, but they're making wonderful progress. And if you take a picture of the one, she's got a wet night dress, and then she's limping, and that's all childbirth injury. It's this constant leakage, which is so terrible. The world just can't know what it's like.
Ruth Kennedy is a nurse midwife whose life calling is to help fistula patients. She explains that fistula injuries from childbirth have virtually disappeared in the developed world because women in these cultures are largely healthy and have access to modern medical care and procedures like C-sections.
But what about the little girl here in Ethiopia, and the little girl in Nepal, the women in Afghanistan, all over Africa? The reasons for fistula: number one, poverty.
Ruth says a poor Ethiopian girl will typically work sun up to sundown, gathering water and firewood and food.
And it's equivalent to a 4-hour workout, the amount of work this child will do. And her calorie intake is nowhere near adequate to what she needs. She's then married off to a young man from any age, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and she'll go off to live in one of the rural communities of Ethiopia.
And then Ruth says a girl's problems really start because often just at puberty she'll get pregnant.
A 16, 17-year-old girl can deliver a baby without any problem. But the problem with this little girl is that she's stunted. 51% of Ethiopian children are stunted, which for the boys, it just makes them short. But for the girls, it causes a justo-minor gynecoid pelvis.
That's medical language for small pelvis unable to let a baby pass through. Obstructed labor that is catastrophic. The young mother may labor for a week before the baby finally dies, compresses, and exits the body. The devastated patient is left with a hole, a figurative hole in her heart, a literal hole in her body.
All of this is preventable. It's preventable if the girl is not working so hard, if she's getting adequate calories, if she's educated so her frame of reference is larger, so that her mother knows that if she hasn't delivered a baby within 8 hours, they need to take her to a hospital. I'm a midwife by profession. This should not happen. This is a crime against women.
In 1959, Dr. Reginald Hamlin and his adventuresome bride Catherine, both obstetricians, visited Ethiopia from their native Australia to start a school of midwifery. But their lives forever changed as they set in motion a program that would change the lives of more than 25,000 women. You see, they were captivated by the plight of the young fistula patients and decided to stay in Africa to help them. They perfected a surgical technique to mend the fistula injuries and committed their lives to the effort. Reg, as he'd like to be called, passed away in 1993, but 82-year-old Catherine still lives here, and you can find her often in the operating theater.
It's been so many wonderful decades of work.
Well, it's been a labor of love for me, so I haven't felt it as work, really.
In your wildest dreams, could you ever have imagined that you could have created such a wonderful center of healing and hope and life, renewed life?
No, I wouldn't have imagined that it would have grown so tremendously, because my husband was the one with the vision to begin with, and he was the one that was touched by the plight of these women when we first came to Ethiopia. And he got the idea of building a separate hospital for them, so they wouldn't feel ashamed and isolated and marginalized from the rest of their societies.
At this hospital, all care is free. It's supported entirely by donations and with help from the Ethiopian government in terms of a duty-free exemption for imported goods. When we come back, we'll show you around that hospital and show you how this dream has changed the lives of tens of thousands of women. We'll also show you part of a new feature-length documentary on the Fistula Hospital that's winning awards around the globe. Stay with us.